Well, welcome back, RP Bass fans. Mike Rogers here. Gonna have a left off from yesterday. What I'm doing here, I'm gonna have a few camera positions moved because it's just me, so you can see things. I'm gonna have to start over here on this on the bench, um, and I'll explain. You'll hear my voice, but you won't see me on camera until we move back over to the load area. As you can see, I finished depriming all these after the last video, plus a bunch more that are over there. So they are void of any primer, all of them. Your next move is to get your locking hub. I'll pull it out here. And this one is for the 40 caliber. It's a 40 one, it's just like the one that sits in them over there, except it's got a stud on it so it can go inside this drill right here, of which I tighten down, and on the end of it is your shell holder, just like the one that goes on the press that's over there. This is all one unit. There's one more thing that you have to buy, and with that is a case length trimmer. This will fit inside the shell once I get it mounted on there like this. You see that? This will go inside the primer hole, and the round part will sit onto the pad, and these are the teeth. So when it goes around, it will trim it down to the 40 length. So you get your shell and you slide it in your holder here. You turn it around until it tightens. Now this is manual labor here. There's going to be a lot of it. Nothing's modified or. And this here is your chamfering tool. It's got little blades, openings on the ends here, and you insert that, and it rotates around, and it chamfers out. It fans out the inside to the outside so it can accept the shell. I happen to weld a little rebar piece on it, so I had something to hold my fingers or get tired of doing that. Let's see if I can do this kind of out of proportion. So I get the case length trimmer and I insert that into the 40 cal. Just like that. And once you get to doing a bunch of them, it's easy to switch it in, switch it out, switch it in, switch it out, switch it in, switch it out. But that's what this is. All right. So we turn on the drill to get it going on, hold the cutter, and it'll cut. It'll cut that case down to the required length. Then you grab your chamfer tool and you put that in the end of it here, and you hold that tight too, turn it on. Oops. Drop the tool. Only a few seconds is what it takes. And I don't know if you can see that bevel on the inside. The bevel's to the outside. You run your hand up and down it, you can feel the bevel on it. So that's one shell that's ready for a primer, powder, and lead. And then you go through, at least I do, you go through all of these to do the same. And then when you're done doing that, I get out my calipers again and I look for the correct length that I just cut, which for the 40 is right there. It's 0.850. That's 0.85, 49.5. So I'm really close on it. It's fine to be a little bit under, but not over. And then I go through each one and do that separately for each one. Once that's done, let me do one more here. Slide that in, put the case length trimmer in there, turn this on. And get out the camphor, whoops, almost dropped it. Get out the camphor tool. Make sure that's tight. And camphor it. Now I usually wear a pair of gloves because your fingers get tired out. But again, where's the cam? There it is. Again, you can see the bevel on it. So those two are ready to go. If you hang on a second, let me move the camera. There you are, back to the loader. I'll have to explain a few things here too. Let me grab those two shells. All right. So I've got these two shells, and there should be 100 or 200. Because I don't do two at a time. I do, like I said, the whole batch is worth doing. What you do next is you can seed a primer. Now this thing you see right here is my primer feeder. Now you can do them one at a time, but that's not effective. You see this little rocker right here? Take it out. It has that cupped in I showed you the other day, spring loaded. That little hook right there sits on the rocker inside, so it rocks back and forth like that. So what I do is I'll run the ram all the way up, and I can either take a primer and feed it on here by hand, or I put them inside this feeder tube right here, and it rocks back and forth, and it comes down here to the point and it feeds, and it goes over the top of that, and when you push it, you can see it fed a primer to it. So that's good. I pull this down, and I have my case holder there. I get the round that I just did. I will slide that in, and you see it rock forward, and it positions the primer underneath the shell. You give it a little push. I just seated the primer. You pull up, you take out the shell, and you can see now it's primed. It's got a primer in it. Now this one is ready for powder and lead. Now I'll do the same with the second one I did over there. Put that in the, it's hard to do from this angle. Here we go. So I'm usually sitting over here. And I'll run this all the way up, push my feeder. I got a primer in it. I'll run it all the way down. It rocks forward, goes underneath the shell, push on it, it seats the primer. See? It's fairly easy to do. There's a lot of steps in loading, but most of them are just easy to do. The measurements for your powder and all that are the toughest. Now, there are some kits that come with these little, here, this is a 5cc one. I don't trust them much. You can buy, and I have, a scale here. You can see that. And my load is a 6 grains. I know that because of all my loading data here that I talked about. Not to mention that the Ogden HP 38 powder I use also has loading data on the front, and my 40's on there, and it requires 6 grains. Now you can effectively put in the 6 grains, adjust this counterbalance to the 6 grains, add it in here, and it will come up and level out. You go, that's the 6 grains, which is kind of great to check every now and then anyway. But for production, it takes way too long, which is why I bought this here, which is a powder feeder, and it has a micrometer on it that you do the calculations for. And in this situation, for the 40 cal, my powder, and you notice, let me turn this here. You notice I got notes here, so I don't have to redo it every time. And my 40 cal HP 38 powder is 0.550 on the micrometer. It's for 155 grain round, which are these. Pretty, huh? So I got powder in here. I take my scale, my micrometer, and I mic it down to what it's supposed to be. There's increments on here you can't see. I'm at 0.5 here. You turn this here to 5.5, and you're ready to go. So with that being done, which is a heck of a lot easier, and I've already gone back and measured all my rounds, 0.850. So I know the case is correct. It's primed. It's ready to go. I put the round underneath this little nozzle here. I turn the handle up. It drops the powder down in here. And I don't know if you can see that in there. That's the powder just dropped in there. That's the exact amount of 6 grains that I need to seat the bullet. Now, from this point on, when I do powder, then I'll do lead. Then I'll do powder, then I'll do lead. I don't like my my powder being exposed sitting out here. So I will put this, and this is usually gone by now because I'm already in another step. I'll put that in the case length holder. It's already been camfered. I'll grab a 155 grain bullet. This happens to be the 155 RNFP, which is the round nose flat point, which is right there. You set that in top. If I can do it left-handed here. On top of the bullet. I gotta move out of the way of the ram. And this here is your bullet seat. It comes in your case, remember? Here's the decapper right there. And the resizer, that's the powder flow through if you want to use it. I don't. And this one's the bullet seat. And you have to set this, your first bullet you should practice on. After that, it should be set. So how far down is that bullet going to seat? I run it up in there real slow. It's made contact, and I push down ever so slightly to the end. Pull it out, and there's your 40 cal bullet. Right there. It's seated down far enough. I'll pull my caliber out. I'll make and I should be at 1.135. I am at 0.136. 136. So I'm good. That means this was adjusted right. So now I have another round. Again, I grab that empty shell, the one that's already got the primer in it. Put it up here, get my powder, see it, put it in the shell holder, grab my 155 grain, set it on top where the camphor is, it's all ready. I'll run this up into the crimper, push down slightly all the way to the end. Nice and firm. Second bullet. It's at specs. 113539 right there. So now I've done 2. So that's the in a nutshell, that's the process. It's a lot of steps to it. Takes some equipment, initial investments, your lead loader, all your dies for the calibers that you do, your primer feeder, a scale to measure your stuff, a micrometer if you want to use it that way. It just seems easier for me to do it that way. You got to have your locking studs, your trimmers, the camper tool, the pick that I use to pick out the holes and stuff, all the stuff that you need. Then you got to buy primers, bullets, and powder. And then you got to have casings, depending on where you get your casings from. Usually when I get done with the camphering and put a primer in, I'll, I don't know, you can't see it, but I'll go up here and I'll grab my tumbler. It's the one Josh Brown's posted here, and I'll throw these in a tumbler, and I'll tumble them and get them clean again because of all the oils on my hands and stuff. I don't want them sticking in there. And then I'll powder them, bullet them, and put them away. So I believe that's it in a nutshell. Good luck on doing it. Make sure you get your reading materials and understand the process thoroughly. Understand that there are some risks to it. My brother actually lost the tip of a finger loading because his partner was a little negligent, and one of the primers got stuck, and he tapped on the thing and he set the primer off, and it blew the feeder here, so it took off the tip of his finger. So caution, just like you do anything else, even when you're fishing. Wear your life jacket, all that stuff. Reading material, education is everything. So I hope this helped you out. If not, you guys got my number and call. You can always send messages and texts and stuff, and I hear from a lot of you. So go out, have fun, load up your ammo. If you can get them, buy your components now because they're scarce. They're getting scarcer because of people have been loading more and more with the current administration and the last administration. People are buying up components everywhere. It's really hard right now to find large rifle primers. So get a jump on it. You have any questions, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Other than that, take a kid fishing and take them shooting too. Let them learn how to do it. All right. See ya.